Hi, I'm Christina Seid, and you're watching channelAPA.com. Chinatown Ice Cream Factory has been around for 31 years, and my dad started it back in the day, and we've been able to grow into a business where we serve the best ice cream in New York City. We're voted best ice cream by City Search. We've won the Zagat Award of Distinction, the Village Voice Award. All across the board, we've kind of won all the categories for best ice cream. So that's made our community really proud. Well, my father started it. I kind of fell upon it, kind of like a latchkey kid, kind of working it when you're like 12, when they call it like family help, but it's like in between child labor. But it keeps you out of trouble, and it kind of made me into the person that I am today. My father actually had a failed business before. Back then, he was, I think, in his late 20s, and he started something kind of like a cozier Panera cafe in this location. But Chinatown wasn't ready for something like that, and ice cream back then, believe it or not, was considered something that you didn't eat every day. It was more like an American luxury where it was more expensive. It wasn't something like, it was like a real treat. It's not like an everyday thing where you had it in the freezer. And back then there was a Carvel down the block, and that wasn't really what the community needed because the Chinese population was growing, and I think that's when the failed business turned into the ice cream shop, or the transformation. It's kind of interesting because when I was a kid, it was a lot slower. New York City was different. Chinatown was a lot different. If we sold a pint of ice cream, it was a big deal, but there's no way you paid the rents in Chinatown or survive off of a pint of ice cream. So as I kind of grew up, the store kind of grew up as well, I guess. And when I used to mop the floors and when we didn't have any employees, right now we have a lot of part-time employees. When I was a kid, I used to damn my dad in the back of my mind for dragging me, because I grew up in suburbia and I have to come in to waste my Saturdays. I couldn't join teams, I couldn't do anything most of my life. Even when I went away to school, I had to come back home in the summer because I was busy. So I'd have to help out the store. And my dad always told me, if you don't want to mop the floor and you don't want to sweep the floor and you don't want to do this manual labor, you better study hard in school. But I couldn't study hard in school because I was here, you know? And I feel like at times there was times that I felt like I missed out my childhood. But as I kind of grew up, the store kind of got more busy and we kind of grew as one. And yeah, my blog on Chinatown actually started off as a blog on Chinatown Ice Cream Factory. And because I'm a business magazine nerd, I read all these business magazines, and when blogs just first came out, they said this is the way to kind of market your business. So I just started talking about the ice cream factory, and after a while there's only so much to talk about. The flavor per se is X, Y, and Z. And then it was kind of a more organic growth where it turned into what's going on in the neighborhood, and there was a real need for that because they have Singdo Daily, they have World Journal, but people don't read Chinese like people like you and me, and we want to know what's going on in our community because we're in Chinatown. So I started to write about what goes on because I'm here every day, and it kind of just took off. I did my master's in education, and I had realized that in my program there were very few Asians, surprisingly, at that time, and there was no good children's literature. Like, we were always in internment camps, or we were building railroads, or it was like a textbook. And I remember even my favorite book growing up, it was about this kid in China playing with the panda, and they were wearing Cheongsam or something, and my parents never even set foot in China, and my grandparents came over very early, so I thought, we need children's literature for Chinese Americans, and this is my segue into a line of books to kind of introduce Chinatown. And there's no negative Asian stereotypes here. They're only positive Asian role models. No slanted eyes, no kind of traditional clothes. This is about Chinese Americans. This is not a textbook, and it's actually bilingual, and it's in a lot of community organizations as well as libraries around the city, and actually even in different states. I've cut down a little bit just because I've gotten engaged in the last year, but I think 3 years ago I was part of 13 committees and boards, and in the APA community as well as the greater New York City community. I was also part of New York Cares, which is not Asian at all, it's just a New York City based organization. But I realized through advocacy that I'm just much more interested in the Chinatown community because I'm here and I see the need and I understand the need a lot more. Right now I'm focusing more on Chinatown youth initiatives where I'm part of their advisory board, taking a less active role. And I just finished my term for the Greater Chinatown Community Association, which is on Moscow Street. It's been around for longer than us, maybe 35 years. So I think also by blogging and just letting people know what goes on in the community and bringing business back, talking about $20 lobsters or $10 lobsters, like what's a good place to eat or where's a good place to get a massage, making our community more accessible for people. Because I'm a business person, so I really believe that business is sustaining change. When you could bring business back into the community, especially after 9/11, I think that really helps our community. They could go to my blog, ChristinaofChinatown.com. It gives a bio, tells what events that are going on in the community, tells you where's a good place to eat. If you want to type in shopping, it'll come up with a list of places to go shopping in the community and what to buy. It's really for everyone.